Did you get used to having a weapon on you early on in your bid there, or did that come later?
Nah, it was mandatory.
Really?
Yeah, because it's something that's needed, so everyone's got one. So it's like you walk in the dorms and you feel the tension in the air.
Right.
And you might just be in there just cutting through. Like, you just feel the tension. Everyone's got knives. But like the first camp I went to, it was more of a hands-on. Like the first main prison I was at was more of a hands-on, and we'd fight. A couple people got ripped with razor blades. Wasn't really that many knives.
You never got stabbed in all these activities?
I got stabbed on the streets before.
Really?
Yeah.
What age?
My back, I was like 14.
Really?
Yeah, day before Christmas.
How'd it
my
happen?
corner store. I was out there meeting up with somebody or something like that, and bro owed me money. And he called me, he's like, oh, I got your money, yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, all right, you feel me? He came through to give me the money. I got the money from him, and when I walked off, I turned around, and something was just my spider sense, just to look. So then when I turned around, I seen something shiny, I blocked. I got a scar right here, actually, on my hand where the first one hit.
He gave you the money, and then he was going to come and get your ass and then take the money back?
I don't even know if he wanted the money back. It was just...
Did he have any, actual reason to want to hurt you?
Nah, he was high. So he was like he was just, I don't know, he was on some Conan shit, and
even when you look back at your childhood, there was a lot of tweakers around. Because when we think about Florida, we think about people doing meth and shit like that.
Yeah, like when I was real little, like I'd say right around the peak of when I was 12, 13 years old, you would see like all in the neighborhood and at our corner stores and shit was like old syringes and stems, which is the little glass jar with a mini rose in it. So you'll see the little roses laying everywhere, and that was the glass jar they were using to smoke dope out of.
Right.
So you don't see that shit like that now, though. But back in the day, they were at all of our corner stores. You just see little roses laying everywhere.
Just because everybody's doing fentanyl and pills now?
I guess so. But they took all them little things out of the gas station, But back in the day, they were just everywhere. Me not knowing what it was, and they'd set you up like with payphones. Like you might go to fuck with the payphone, stick your hands in the little thing where the change is, and there'd be a syringe in there and poke you. You see, like different shit like that. Like,
wow.
You see, so you can't really, or you walk by and look at the payphone and there's used needles just laying there.
Right.
You see, that's how it was when I was little.
Definitely. So, okay, that first stretch that you were in there, ended up being how long? Like 2 years?
Yeah, I was only supposed to do 6 to 9 months, and I did like 2 and some change, almost 3.
Right. So then you get out, and then what do you try to do at that point?
I got out, tried to get a job, tried to do the right thing.
And you were free for how long before you ended up getting locked up again?
I say like 9 months.
Really?
Yeah.
And the job thing didn't work out? It wasn't really your speed?
Hell nah. Definitely not, nah.
What was it? You
Taco
just hated
Bell.
You hated being
at
there?
Taco Bell. Tried to make that, tried to try something legit. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't really what it was,
What do you think it was? You think you just don't have the personality where you can have a job?
Nah, it was more like I feel like I needed to get, I don't know, I just feel like I needed to get it out of my system or something. Because like when I caught all my juvenile charges, it was like all in the stretch of the same year. Same thing with my adult charges. When I became an adult, it's like I had like a 6-month stretch of just bam, 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 went to prison. I feel like, prison ain't the place to go, but I feel like that shit calmed me down a little bit.
Really?
Because now I play chess, not checkers. So it's like I think instead of jumping the gun, I realize that it's just me all the time jumping the gun. So instead patience is key on my end now, so I'm just more, and I've been doing great.
Do you think do you think your biggest problem is just that you kind of tend to just spaz out when you get like offended or upset with the way somebody's acting and that sort of rage thing? Like, could you see yourself still having that if some random guy came up to you on the street talking shit, that you are still kind of liable to just wild out and fucking break their jaw and then be stuck going to court over it?
I mean, I hope not, but it's happened, what I'm saying? But at the same time, I try to think before, because I already know, like, at the end of the day, it's going to be me doing the time like it was last time. You see? So it's like, it could happen, though. I don't look for it, but I know what I'm capable of,
So how much time you end up actually doing as an adult, though?
5.
5 total straight or in different?
It was straight. I got 60 months in prison. FSP was my sentence, but I had some county time before.
And what was that for?
For a stab charge
Oh,
also.
okay. You stabbed someone else?
Yeah, so I
So
was
you
playing
had a
with,
real habit, huh?
No, I was playing with knives before I even went to prison. You see, so that was kind of like, okay, like
Right.
I was already into it.
That was just something that by default you had on you. Was it? Were people not really shooting each other in the neighborhood you were growing up in? It was more stabbings and fist fights were more likely.
Yeah, at a younger age, yeah, it was more like head up fades, fighting, and I would just take it to the next level and like stab people. You know?
Did you ever do it where you got away with it, or were you just getting caught?
Nah, I mean, I wasn't really good at getting away with it because I wasn't trying to get away with it. I was just doing whatever, however it happened. You feel me? And then I didn't care about getting away. You know, it just people knew who I was, so it was like I was gonna get caught regardless.
Right.
You know, so it was like it ain't like I was masked up. or
And
nothing.
everybody
It's
was just telling where you're from, or what? Like it was just normal people snitching,
just-
or what?
Well, when you got someone laid up and they got a fucking shit bag in them, they got to wear a shit bag now.
You got
It's-
somebody that bad?
Yeah, yeah. So when they got to wear like a shit bag and stuff, you know, their family members are gonna start talking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just common sense.
Damn.
And
You ever feel
can't
guilty about
control-
that?
Nah, not really. You can't control, you know, what you hit, what arteries you hit. When you hit, you're just hitting, you know. So it's
But if you were to stab somebody, what's the best way to go about doing it? Like you trying to, because I heard somebody say one time you go for the stomach and then you try to move it around in there as much as possible.
I mean, if you're trying to kill them, then probably yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
all-
just send
it-
a message.
yeah, it all depends. Like in prison, people are trying to kill you, so it's like you ain't thinking about that. And then, you know, to them, inmates' lives don't really matter. Like you on the street, you stab someone, you know, you're facing that time. In prison, you stab someone, they're just gonna transfer you. You know, they're not giving you that time all the time when people get wet in Florida.
Florida's the only place you've been locked up at, though?
Yeah.
Because Jake, when he was talking about it, he made it sound like it was really like bad as fuck, like the worst prisons in America.
Because like I said, there's no segregation and stuff like that, you know. And then I know on the West Coast, you know, people talk about levels, like, oh, I was on a level 4 yard, yada yada yada, stuff like that. Down in Florida, we don't go off of yards, you know, like levels. I mean, you know. So when you look it up, like if you look up the 3 camps, my main camps. If you look up like Calhoun CI, Charlotte CI, and DeSoto Annex, if you look them up, them shits say level 5, 6, and 7. Like that's higher than a level 4.
Right.
But down in Florida, the higher the level it is, the more like weak that shit is, basically, because it's more security.
Right.
You see, it's like you got center gate with officers. You got to walk with your hands on your head, and it's locked down. The officers run the compounds.
Right.
You know, when it's high levels. But when it's not, inmates run it, and
Yeah.
that's where it's ratchet.
Yeah, well, Jake wasn't really even saying that the prisoners themselves were the reason it was so bad. He was basically just saying that the COs and shit were so terrible to the
Yeah.
inmates that's what made it really gnarly.
No, yeah, that's another thing
That's
too.
a big problem
yeah,
with
because
it.
they abuse their authority.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just they can literally hide you and do what they want to do to you and cut out all ways of you getting contact in and contact out. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. Like they literally give you a fucking slip in the mail every time you send letters out, and it'll come back saying unauthorized by the warden. And your peoples will call down there, man. Well, my son this, my son that. He's in confinement, man. That's all we can tell you. You can't even tell them what happened to you, all healed up and stuff. Like that shit gets serious down there, especially with the guards.
Do you ever have decent relationships with them? Like, because you seem like a pretty easy to talk to guy. Do you ever like just get cool with some of them, or are they just kind of all assholes?
Nah, there's some cool ones in there, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, like, there's way more dickheads than there is ones that are cool. You know, it all depends on how serious. It's all on how serious they take their job, if they're there just for the paycheck or if they're there to abuse their authority. Because a lot of them be bullies when they were kids, you know,
Right.
and they want to take that shit out on people now. Or they were a bully in school when they were a kid, and now they want to still bully in the grown world, knowing that you ain't going to be able to do it out there in regular.
I mean, they're seeing all this criminal behavior, all this gangster shit, and then they're basically in a position where they get to be like the superhero and all that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you guys have problems with each other. I have problems with you, and I have a gun, and I get to punish you. And you can't do anything to me. Besides, well, you can, but you're going to get thrown in prison for longer. I mean, I guess I could see why some people would be drawn to it. In particular, someone who their life was going in such a way that they ended up working in a prison. You know, it's not like
It don't matter what
your
camp
life's
you
not
hit.
going that great if you ended up being a CO.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see how that would be the kind of person that would want to fucking. If I was a correction officer at this point in my life, I would be the nicest fucking correctional officer because I don't have anything to be mad about. But I feel like a lot of these guys are like really unhappy.
Oh yeah, they come home. I mean, you know, in the program or wherever it's at, and they take it out on the inmates from the shit that they go on in their everyday life. You know what I'm saying? It could be the simplest thing. You know, his wife could be cheating on him, you know, with a fucking white dude. And he come there and now he hates all white inmates because his wife cheated on him with you know what I'm saying? Like, or dude's got a face tat who he caught his wife cheating on 191. He's got a face tat. It's just, they take it out. And there ain't a camp I've been to that didn't have crooked officers. That's everywhere you go.
Okay, guys, we want to thank you so much for getting us to 100,000 subscribers right here on the Clips channel. If you want to support, please click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 200K. Thank you so much.